little intro.
All right, welcome everybody here on Chop It Up with Tony. Thank y'all for joining me today. I got a special guest in the building. Before I let you get started with everything, make sure you guys go to Booksy, get your nice little haircut here at Dynasty Barbershop for allowing us, thank you guys for allowing us to have the show, do our podcast, do our show and stuff like that, and have many special guests. So now we'll get to it. Special guests, Miss Lady Mack, sister-in-law, Lexi Flexi, or, a bunch of a.k.a.s and stuff like that. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it. I've been starting off with a bunch of family members and stuff, you know what I mean? I for sure wanted to bring you on board just because, get a nice little chance to chop it up with you. Of course, I gotta.
I told Zach I wanted the first chop it up with me to be where we were like chopping
actual food up. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, that's a good thing. Now, if you guys don't know, I got a little hat here. We gotta celebrate 4th of July because obviously when the episode drops, it's gonna be a couple days before then. So we gotta, happy 4th of July. And plus I had to do it for Miss Lady Mack. She wanted me to do it in order for me to do the show. So I said that's fine. I can do that. But thank you for joining me. First bring you on and chop it up and stuff. Got a lot of things to get into. So before I kind of really dive deep into personal stuff, whatever case may be, but tell the fans, what are you about? What do you do? I know you deal with kids for a living.
Yeah, I work with kids with autism. So I just do their treatment plans and help them learn to communicate and learn all these different skills. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm sleeping.
That's good. That's good. I mean, what kind of projected you to get into all that? Was that part of the degree that you graduated for? Or?
No, I got my degree in psychology, and then I was sick of nannying and all of that, and so I just went on Indeed and got a job, and then I was really good at it, and they told me to keep going with it, so I did, and then I got my master's in the year.
That's nice. Was the process hard?
The dedication, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, I don't know. It came really easy to me, so that's why I did it too. I'm good at it because I'll see people that are new to the field. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? So I don't know. It's really good. I think that I learned a lot about people behavior and everything and how to engage with people. So I always use those strategies now. But
I was gonna say, I'm like, what? Any learning all that stuff, have you ever had a chance to kind of use that outside? Not, with work and stuff, obviously you're kind of you're zoned in, right? But when it comes to actually outside source and with people and stuff, you ever kind of catch yourself to get into using some of the methods and wait a minute, hold up.
Oh, yeah. I'd be trying to use it on Zach and my mom and the dogs all the time and they're like, shut up. And I'm like, okay, sure. But I think it's cool too because taking my own therapy too, I can see how behavioral analyst stuff ties into mental health stuff too. So
exactly.
We kind of mesh together well. So I'll be talking to my therapist X, Y, and Z, and she's like, "Well, you shouldn't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I tell my clients not to do that, but my business."
But it kind of it's wired, so you kind of get yourself so used to it, and then it's just nature. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, but it's nice that the library has her own baby now. She's not gonna be on his ass and
exactly right.
help him learn. So it's cool to see typically developing kids in my life too, so I can analyze that.
And that's good. I mean, that's awesome. I think that's really, especially how nowadays with mental health and how important it is for people to kind of obviously fine tune themselves and be the better themselves moving forward, right? And I think that's really a big a goal accomplishment on your side. Congratulations, really, to be honest. That's awesome. As long as I know you, I mean, you've been with, little bro over there for almost 10 years now?
Forever, yeah.
Yeah, give or take. And it's like
life.
And that's awesome. And it's awesome. It's been awesome to see your relationship grow. It's been awesome to see you grow to the person who you are. And obviously you got a good path ahead of you. You know what I mean? And obviously a lot of people want to say oh, that's a money maker type of deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice in the end, but I think feeling, obviously understanding you as a person, it's more or less of the people who you're trying to help before it is that, right?
Because I could work somewhere else making a lot more money, but I like working at a smaller place and it being more personalized and stuff. So I do make good money. However, I could be making more and I choose not to because
it's for the greater good. You know what I mean? And what would be, I think, since the whole process of it, what did you feel was the hardest part of the process?
I don't honestly, I hate writing papers. So I think all the papers I had, and I'm pissed off too because nowadays, like everyone has AI to like make themselves sound smarter or like how to like come up with stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, where was that
before, right?
Right.
Usage. How can we use this before, right?
Yeah, because I graduated with my master's already like 4 years ago, and so like AI has only like blossomed in the past like 2 years.
Facts.
So I mean, it's like pros and cons because like people get definitely caught for plagiarizing now. But however, I wasn't able to do all my quizzes really quick and find all the answers. I had to like rely on like Quizlet. Now everyone has AI.
Yeah.
But honestly, once you can find your like own ways to like finesse like stuff and like get in the flow of like school, it was really easy. It's just papers.
Yeah.
Like 8-10 page papers for why. But why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. What's the purpose of it in the process of it moving forward?
Yeah. And then I think outside of like the papers, I had to like take a board exam then to like start practicing.
Yeah.
I failed it the first time and I took it the second time. And it was really funny because the first time, you failed if like they print out 2 papers because they'll print out your score and then they'll print out where like you landed and everything.
Yeah.
And I definitely saw that and I was like, The second time I like tested, more papers printed out, but it was a lady's schedule that she printed out right after my thing. And I was like, girl, don't do this to me again. So I also cried then, but it was like happy tears. But had I failed again, I probably would have taken a break. But I think the first time, like I didn't study with someone, and like I kind of thought I was invincible in my studying, and the second time, like I knew exactly what I needed to like get better at. And so it was fine. It was definitely a setback. I had to wait 30 days to test again. I had to drop like another $400 to test. But and that was the harder part out of all of it. It was just, I hate testing.
Yeah.
You sit in a room with like all these other people testing, like for chiropractors, for like doctor stuff. I'm like, bro, we're all taking different things.
Exactly.
People are like clicking their pencils, walking down the doors, and like, shut the fuck up.
And it's their anxiety that kicks in. It's like, and it's weird. You never really realize it while you're in the middle of doing the test. But when you're doing it, and then now you're thinking about like everyone had to do something in a sense of anxiety, like they're fidgeting with the pencils, clipping their feet or whatever. And then that took like it's been wild to kind of see and understand that.
Yeah. And like the first time I took it, like just my strategy was a little bit messier. And the second time I put my head down after 20 questions. Because it's like a, I think 80 question thing. So like I was so fatigued. Gotcha. And like I took like a 10-minute break halfway through the test. It's a 4-hour test.
And it's not no A and B type of answer.
No, you have to get it's multiple choice, and you have to, in order to pass, get 400 points. So
that's cool.
The first time I like took it, I got like a 388. I was so pissed. I was 12 points away from like passing. So that's like in the grand scheme of things, like 3 questions. Right. So the second time around was nice though. I mean, I got through it and it was good, but I definitely was like, the first time they gave me like the noise canceling big headphones and it was pitching on my ears. I had like a migraine. Second time I'm like, give me the little plugs, like sit me over there, like no. Right. So
that's good. I mean, it's even good to know that you didn't let the first one really hit you that hard to kind of traumatize you. Like, no, I don't want to do it again. But the simple fact that you dialed in, you focused, and you went forward and said, I'm not stopping here. Like I'm gonna wait my time, be patient. And like you said, I like the fact that you brought that up. Like, you understood what you didn't do right the first time around, changed it up, did it right the second time around, and then sure enough, what happened? Right? Killed it.
Yeah, and I pulled up disaster work. I failed. And then I was like, just kidding.
That's what's up. Did the Joey from Friends or whatever talking about, no, I want to get the part. Yeah, I did.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's crazy. That's what I did 4 years ago.
Yeah. How times have changed.
Yeah. Well, it's just like seeing like other people to the field now for me and like now being like their mentor, like it's a lot. And I think that's also like a lot of growth I've had too. Like I was the mentee, now I'm the mentor. Always being on your P's and Q's, as Nico would say it.
Right, exactly. That's good. And then when it comes to like what the people you kind of come across to now, like anybody that comes close and really been on board with like, we're kind of seeing the same thing in the field, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Like I know someone that like I currently work with now. I think she's failed multiple times, and like I can see her like losing her light. And I'm like, girl, keep going. You gotta keep going. The test also gets like harder each like each time they like update it.
Yeah.
I think when I took it, it was like the 4th version of the test. Now they're on like the 6th version of the test.
Yeah.
And so like it's more questions, like it's all different. So it's been nice to like tell everyone what to focus on and what not to, because like in college, everything on that test is not what you learn in college.
Exactly.
But it's also like what you're doing in the field. You also now the test is made by people like that make all the rules for us. So they don't care what your like experience is really saying is what they say.
Exactly.
It's really a quiz, like a test on what other people want you to do.
Instead of what you kind of actually learned in the process of the scheme of things. Yeah. That's always been my downfall when it came to tests and understanding was like, none of this stuff was really, none of this stuff was really what we're talking about here, man. There's like 10 of these questions that were nothing to do with that. It's on something else from 2 years ago, and he just kept it in there. I think a lot of times they structure that in order to kind of throw people off and to give them that stumbleness. And like, no, you get caught up.
Well, and like you can have like clients' parents who like want to get IQ tests and like do all these different standardized testing to like see like what their child's like value is essentially. And I'm like, screw those tests.
Yeah.
Because they literally mean nothing.
No, and not nowadays how things are with
everyone gets passed.
Exactly. And then it's like more or less of like you can still do something else afterwards, so it's okay. You just keep moving forward.
Yeah, numbers and tests don't equal your value.
Correct. I always say quality over the quantity, and the type of deal has always been the best option.
I mean, though, I did have a 4.0.
Hey, well, congratulations. I mean, I know I wasn't up there. I definitely was like a 227, give or take, maybe. I don't know. But that was more so of, I guess you'd say, my life path and my struggles in school and stuff like that, the concentration. But I think really I changed my mindset because going back in and me wanting to graduate, get my diploma, I knew for a fact that I just needed to change who I was. Exactly. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be done within a half a year and not sitting there, worry about afterwards. And I think it would have taken me a full year of high school, and I finished it in half. I literally just devoted myself in that first year, and I was like, how did I get it done?
It's really not that hard to like get through life. You just really have to apply yourself.
Exactly, and focus. And I know the difference because whether or not there's obviously different kids, you know how I am. I can talk to anybody and it'd be cordial, be cool. And it's like I'm a people person. But I really kind of shut myself down to not be able to do that in order to stay focused and let it be. And then plus not let the other little kids want to sit here and mess up the classroom flow or whatever case may be. It felt weird. I'm like I was a class clown. All of a sudden now I'm like the class trying to achieve, trying to be the achiever over here, the overachiever. And I'm like, well, damn. No, it was short-lived, but okay. Yeah, and
honestly, too, like all the kids like in high school, like going out parties and stuff like that's cool, good for you, but I just rather stay home.
Right. Now, when it comes to work, dealing with autistic kids at this point, has there been some sad stories you kind of come across? Obviously, because of HIPAA reasons, we can't really explain personal names or whatever the case would be. But I would say situations that you've seen.
I think my biggest thing that's like a reoccurring thing is I feel like the school system is really not made for like anyone that is not like in their idea of like normal like fitting in this box. So I think that's also like a systematic thing of like resources. Like schools have good resources, so they can only do so much. So I think that's been like hard to see that like some of my clients don't get what they deserve, or on the contrary, like I try to give them everything and overcompensate because of other like stuff like that. I think another big piece too is like a lot of the parents are their kids' worst like enemies, and being honest, and like they're stuck in their ways and their ideas of what life should be for their child. So rightfully so, you have this idea of like your child being born and what life's gonna look like, and it's different. So it's a lot of grieving. So like I am definitely part of a lot of that grieving process. So that's like hard to navigate, and I think the biggest thing I've learned is just like to perspective take as much as I can because it's not easy. I don't have a kid.
I can understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be very hard to kind of put yourself in that perspective just because it's like you're in that moment of like you want to react and inform, but then you're like, let me take a step back because if I do, they're really gonna lash and take it like I'm passing over a boundary.
Yeah, chappy tee it up.
Yep. That's always been the struggle with parents a lot of times. It's us parents, it's like, don't tell me that perspective if I feel like it's my way this way. But I think that's the same thing in my mind moving forward of like understanding the kids. It's like I'm not gonna sit here and force a picture. It's more or less at the moment right now, I'm raising you guys to what I see fit. And it's gonna come to a time where you're gonna believe in something that I have no idea, that I may not believe in the same thing. But all I ask and all I can trust in you is the fact that you are safe and that it's proper choices in the sense of keeping you out of trouble. And it doesn't create hatred towards anything. That's all. It's like anything in that nature, like, it's good.
I think like my biggest thing too is just like meeting everyone where they're at and like letting them navigate whatever they need to navigate. If they don't want to listen to me and take feedback, I've given them 5 times.
Right.
Eventually they'll take it.
Yeah.
Or find a way to like marry your view and my view. But like even with my clients, like some of them are not speaking, or some of them their like schools have a different ideas of what communication should be like, and I just kind of meet them where they're at. Where do you want me to fit in?
Right.
But I think that's also like there's a lot of growth on my end to like I want to react to everything because I'm so passionate, but having to like know that I don't have to fix everything either.
Yeah, and that until it takes a lot of work too, because if, like you said, when you're passionate, you're just passionate. You want to jump and move,
go.
Right? And it's like, to do that, that's growth, and that's self-control. That actually do a lot of self-control. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's good
and
stuff.
I would say in like the past like year and a half of being in therapy, like the last couple of times I've taken PTO, I'd say I'm gonna do like my Google app and don't. But this time, like I was still at work on Friday when I left, and I was like everybody is here. I deleted it, and so like that's really cool for me to feel like I can disconnect from the work too.
It's hard to do that too with that process, because especially with you being in the type of field that you are and dealing with people. That's where it becomes difficult because you always want to be a helping hand. And sometimes, in a way, it's like these are the resources that I know I can help somebody with compared to, let's say, for instance, you go home, those resources may not be the same that you can help with.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't need to right here, but I'm going to go above and beyond on this side. And a lot of times you realize as time passes by, it becomes a draining mechanism on you. You didn't realize it until you actually finally realize when you're like, oh, why am I so tired? Why am I
responding to a text message from a parent?
Exactly. Why am I mentally exhausted right now at this point? Like, what the heck is this? What's going on right now?
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, but I think too, like it's been cool to see like my families I work with too, learn my boundaries and like accept the boundaries I put up since like I started with them too. Like I need like just a week in the chaos. Just be left alone because summer's like really crazy. All the kids are not at school, so they're here like at the clinic a lot more and everything. So it's a lot, but it'll be good. It's really cool because this year too, like we're doing like just field trips, like community activities, and
awesome.
It's like really cool to get to see them.
And I know you like to travel a little bit like that and go do some stuff. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
I got to be outside.
That's good. I would say at this point right now, as far as for the future, what do you feel like will be your future, and what do you want moving forward, like to get to that point? Oh my God.
Like professionally?
Yeah.
Well, in the past year, I've like been part of leadership too, and what like I really found like reinforcement in is like looking at like data and like making sure everyone's basically doing what they should do on the clinical side. Yeah. So I've just been like reviewing treatment plans and like auditing a lot of stuff, and I think I'm very like an organized person,
right.
And my brain just works a certain way, and people I work with, all of their brains have different pros and cons, like both clients and like adults, and so I think my like expertise just like continuing to like make everyone else's work as good as mine.
That's good.
But yeah, and I think too, like I don't know, a lot of people like at work are so like inflexible, and I think just want to like continue to expand like people's like perspectives and make everyone just like not lose their crap all the time at work, and like really like where our staff is right now, it's like very cohesive and like very beautiful. We also have like a lot of strong personalities, so I just want to like be that supervisor that can go to. So
that's good.
Now that I'm good at my like normal job, leadership is my next mountain
of achievement at this point.
I'm like in it, but like I want to like be in it and like master it.
Very good.
But after that, I don't know. I'm definitely not the type of person that like wants to open up my own practice for sure.
it's more or less like work with someone, have a good crew to kind of
Yeah.
develop with and move forward and
Yeah.
stuff, right? That's good. No, that's good. Okay. All right. Now moving on to personal stuff now. And that's good. I guess let's before I do that, I think what I would want to ask is like your personal message when it comes to anybody who's thinking about getting into the field, as well as possibly for for high school, college, when they want to go for this route of path. What would be your words of wisdom, I guess, at this point? Ooh.
I think that like accept help. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like I never wanted to accept help, and like it's not easy. So like accept that help, because there's gonna be days where you get bit by a kid and you still have to go home and take a final, or just like in school and like and the younger kids in general, like who gives a crap what everyone else thinks? If they're not helping you grow, then like they can go.
Correct. Build a crew around you, the support system. It's that supporting staff that if you're a negative in my life, then that negative needs to go. I want someone to be positive, but also too, you can let me know what I'm wrong at or whatever case it be, but you're helping me get back, right?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yes.
I like that. I like that message. It's very nice.
Thanks. Birds of a feather,
Yeah. So personal life now. Now we get into personal stuff. I've known you so long. I know you have a passionate of, being very close to your mom, which is phenomenal. That is a great thing to have. Having someone like that in your life to be supportive, but also, let you know when you're doing something wrong sometimes. I know it can be very challenging.
Yeah.
Right? What kind of, I guess you would say, based on your life, what was that build? How did that become of?
Like the marriage relationship?
Yeah.
I think just
It's so close. You guys are close.
Yeah. But I think it's just like has to do with like my parents like getting a divorce and everything, and us living with her. And I'm not saying what was right versus the other, like dad versus mom or whatever, but like also too, I don't know, she didn't have anyone, like all her family lives like 2 hours away, so like I feel like I had to be her rock. So it's definitely a bumpy ride, but like it's also like very worth it. Like I don't know.
Well, of course it's worth it. I mean, that's mom. That's the person in your life who obviously is going to be honest with you of all people and kind of tell you. Yeah, maybe sometimes you feel like it could be for their benefit, but for the most part, it's a realization of like, you just want me to do that.
Yeah.
And it's our relationship. And that's good.
And we're very similar people. So like I do have like family that like I love and adore and like also like tell me what to do. But like I don't know, me and my mom could just get it almost a little bit too much sometimes. So we're like we bump heads, but
now siblings wise, you said siblings, you mentioned siblings. Are you the only child with you and your mom?
No, I have a 25-year-old. She'll be 25 in August. So Karina is 25. We have the same mom, and then my dad got remarried, and I have 3 other siblings. I think.
Under dad.
Yeah, 11, 9, and 6 at this point. Girl, boy, girl. So I have 1 brother. That's cool. But I'm the oldest of 5. I'm the oldest of 2 to the oldest of 5.
Gotcha.
But I don't really like have them around. They live 5 minutes from me, but they kind of do their own thing.
Right. It's kind of the lifestyle that you're kind of middle of.
Yeah, I think that like bounces off of like the boundary stuff, and like I think that they have boundaries and I have boundaries, and we're both fine having boundaries. And who knows? Like our boundaries might be the same exact thing, but I don't think we're like completely. I don't have a problem with them. We just don't talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's good to keep it like just kosher.
Yeah.
And no drama is better than like having drama being in each other's lives. And I mean, I could probably reach out to them at any point and like talk to them, but I just think where I'm at, there's enough chaos in my little bubble.
Already is it, right?
But I mean, I would say like in the next 5 to 10 years, I do want to like work on that. Like by that time, the kids will be like older and
have that mature mindset.
Yeah, own opinions and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I don't want to step over people's toes.
Now, mentioning divorce, I don't know if you want to get into that personally so much, but during the time of your parents separating, how old were you?
I think I was 8 when they got divorced. So I think that we lived in Berwyn, and then when I was like 5, we moved out to Rowling, and then from like 5 to 8, it was chill, but like towards the end, I got to see
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, not like anything too crazy, just like the fights and stuff, and then all of that. But
Was there every time? Because I know you know our life, and at this point, it's like I know for a fact, me being noticed, it's like there were definite times of just like you sitting in the room and just weirdly, oddly enough, praying like just for you guys to please go different ways at this point because you're just not good together.
Yeah.
But I know when you guys are apart, you guys are wholly different people. You're two different people.
Yeah, I feel like my dad's perspective of why they're not together versus my mom are a little different. Like I've had talks with that. So like, I mean, I really know what it's vibe for. Like I can form my own opinion. I want to say the most memorable moment that like I can recall is when like one time my mom and dad were arguing and she threw a Lexi and she said, "Clean your act up." So that's like the brunt of like the worst.
It's like it's bad, but it's freaking hilarious when you think about it because it's like that's pretty slick, Jeremiah. That was a good little setup.
Yeah,
good gesture.
I'm a Lysol bathroom joking.
Good. I mean, clean up those pants where you be sagging them down like.
So I don't know. I feel like they kept it mostly like fit-ish. There's just only some, meltdowns they had, but nothing too crazy. I think it was more so like afterwards, like when my parents got divorced and like my dad moved into his own place. He low-key moved in with my stepmom. There was just to wait like 6 months before we got introduced, and I'm pretty sure my dad did it before the 6 months, whatever. But like me and my mom are both like super spies with getting information. But there was this one time I was like borrowing my dad's phone to like call my mom, and it said "put up." I was like, "Mom, what's put up?" She's like, "What's that?"
Oh,
and I was like, "Bro, like
that's crazy."
First of all, like yes, my dad's Mexican. He's like the most whitest Mexican I know.
Yeah.
So
But for him to have that.
And when I asked him, "What's put up?" She's like. And his ringtone for her was the Black Eyed Peas "Shut Up" song.
No way. That's crazy.
So he was
that's
a savage. So it was like little sneak disses I picked up on.
That's crazy. It's kind of actually pretty slick, but I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's hilarious.
The more you know. But I mean, also too, like my idea of like what like the fall down, like the divorce, and like right thereafter is versus with my sisters was a lot different.
Yeah.
So like when she entered high school, she actually like moved and lived with them for a while because me and her got into it. So like our childhoods, even though we spent like half of it together, we also spent like half of it apart. But so I think that's also why me and my mom are super close too, because it was really just me and her. I think
for a long time.
From maybe like my junior year and on.
Which is really the pinnacle point of your like life itself, of your growth as a person. During that time frame, that's when you're kind of putting your life in the way you see fit, what you want moving forward, but also to the development of who you want around you too as well. And I think that's actually what made this build up between you two so close, because you guys at that moment during the troubled times in life stuck together at that time.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that my sister got brainwashed a lot too, and I think she slowly has realized that now that she has it, and that's fine. But I think now that we've gotten older, we've kind of like let the dust settle and we can get close again, and that's totally fine. That we grew up differently. She's super white.
Yeah.
Compared to me, like she has the Mexican name, but it's the whiter one out of us. I'm not saying that I'm super like the Hispanic one, but like I don't know. I feel like
the comparison could be a little different.
Yeah. And I mean, she's thriving. She like lives in her own apartment. She's actually moving out of her apartment tomorrow to like a new one. She feels with social work. So like, even though we like lived a different life.
That's crazy. One of them social work.
Yeah.
And then social. That's crazy. Psychology. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really funny because like she like what she does and what I do, like they're so similar, just a little like different of like our core focus. So that was cool to see. That was both like got a master's and whatnot. We're very competitive. Like I want to say like we ended up spending the same. Like I went to CLC, then I went to Northeastern, and then I went to Capella.
Yeah.
And so like I think her like original school was like $20,000 a year, but then her like graduate school was cheaper, and then vice versa. Like I feel like $6,000 for like my first 4 years of college. but then my master's was like 30 something thousand.
Nice.
So like it's kind of funny to see like we're always competitive. So everything. But I mean that's good. I think that's healthy. That was a healthy competition.
Of course, really, exactly. That's would be the healthiest type of competition, really, to be honest, because it's like if we can compete in some the education and the attitude, what's benefit to you guys, that's what's good competition.
Yeah.
Bro.
She's been with her boyfriend for like a while too, so I'm on his ass. But I think it'll be cool to see like the next chapter of her life too.
Yeah.
I think she's out of the two of us the one more willing to have kids than me. I think if it happens for me, but I think she actually might want at least one. And yeah, gotta have you do your maid of honor. Good.
Very
You hear that?
Heard it here, guys. No. What's it called?
Just right in.
When it comes to like people's opinion about your relationship, has there been anybody that's really expressed a certain opinion, like why are you guys are so close? What like that's not right or not normal, or whatever case be. Has there ever been any of that nature? Because
yeah, I feel like my sister keep her. And I think, yeah, and not because she wants that relationship, but I think, I don't know, my sister was able to get a little brainwashed, and I was just like firm on my beliefs.
Yeah.
So I think that, and then like my dad, kind of. I'm sure like the reason my dad lives his own like little life with his like 2 or 3 other kids now, and like it's also because I'm not willing to conform.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing to why I'm not so involved in my like siblings and like dad and stepmom's life is they want me to like be this certain thing, and the difference between like my mom and my dad is my mom accepts what I am.
Right.
And I'm not saying my dad doesn't, but like in high school, like high school is high school.
Exactly.
You party, you do what you want. I had to like get drug tested in order to see my siblings.
Oh my God.
Or like I remember my first boyfriend, they weren't happy about it. Or like this and that. So there's just been like a lot of like growing up now, looking back at it and being able to reflect on it. They wanted me to be a certain thing, and I'm not gonna be the fake person.
Right.
And I'm not.
Right.
So, I think that's kind of a big thing for me is that I'm not fitting in your box. So if you don't like the relationship, it's because that person accepted me.
Right.
And even now, like with like my friends, they're like, "Oh my God, she's on your ass all the time." I'm like, "Okay, and she cares."
Okay, good. Yeah, that's the crazy part. Of course, exactly.
I'm on her end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. How you guys are with we're on when I'm literally on the phone with Zach, and sometimes when I hear you guys, it's like
funny.
it becomes just comedy because it's like
we need our own show.
Like literally would be like the freaking hilarious thing to be put on there, and it's like at the end of the day, the way you guys go at it, you think you guys are just done with each other, but like an hour later,
exactly.
give it an hour later, like no, y'all just like
you need a snack.
Yeah.
You're not yourself when you're hungry.
You're like you're good. You're hangry still, or
you want to go buy some burritos?
You don't want Snickers.
But honestly, like we'll say some messed up stuff, unfortunately, but also to like whatever. We make up.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's also a good helpful part of the relationship because obviously, I think you've given the healthy part of the relationship where it's like it's able to kind of continue to keep growing because otherwise, if you hold those grudges, I think you guys probably won't be as close as you guys are.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it's been like really good to like help me reflect on all your like your guys' relationship with your mom too.
Yeah, and it helps. I mean, because in my mind at that time, like dealing with divorce, I was 17 compared to me.
Old as hell.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more or less of like. I had a choice at that time if I wanted to stay with mom or if I wanted to leave and with my dad. But beginning of high school, I think that was the time where I really had a choice for my freshman year. Like, do I want to go or do I want to stay? I chose to go because it felt like I was being brainwashed on that side. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense to like, if my dad's such a bad person, he's such a bad guy, why is it when they were separated in his weekend, like, we're doing this, and this. But during the week when I'm at home with you, it's I got 6 or 7 random people coming up in this house and you're like, what's it called? You're partying with this person, part of that person, and it's a Tuesday.
That structure was good for you.
Right.
You wanted that.
And I think really too was more that helped was the family. My cousins at the time, Alex, barbershop, whatever, like it was good. and we had to bring Zach. Zach was coming around too, so it's like we were totally different. And we're totally different behavior. And chubby cheeks is what I like to call him because he had chubby cheeks.
Did they call him chocolate?
They call him chocolate when they were big because he was the little chocolate guy. He was like a little chocolate chip. You know what I mean?
He was very adorable.
Thank you. That's what I said. I'm like, man, I wish Zach was a baby again.
But that's probably the one reason I have a kid with him is because they're cute.
Thank you. He had cute babies, man. The cutest of all. I'm like, man, those cheeks were so much. I used to like tease on him or whatever, but I could not stop holding him because of those cheeks. Like it was just awesome. And I think that relationship, that's kind of what built me over there to have that. Now, I mean, I don't have the best relationship with my dad, but it kind of made me understand the difference in the lifestyles and the kind of trajectory of what I want to go for myself and what I want from my relationship.
What kind of father you want to be.
Exactly. Now, did that also kind of play into your relationship with, I guess, with Zach at this point, like the building blocks of what you want in a relationship and what you want moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's why we're taking our sweet-ass time with like getting married because I don't want to make mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. With him, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, no, huh?
What about yourself, man? What am I saying?
I don't know. I think I still like a lot of aspects of my dad, or in Zach of my dad too. So it's kind of funny, and I know a lot of stuff that like characteristics of me is also in me. Exactly. So it's very funny to see that aspect too. But I think that like his upbringing and my upbringing, I think that's why we just kind of take it slow and we've gotten to work on our communication like 5 years ago.
Totally different, right?
Yep. And like I think too, like I'm not really afraid to tell him like grown up anymore.
Exactly. Good.
You can be mad at me for a day for telling me that, but
right. And then it's what I knew in the past. It's you can kind of tell like exactly, and like you need someone to tell you what is and what isn't, and be bluntly honest, but still in your face say it to you, but at the end give you the emotions and the feelings of but I'm not going to. That's just because I said it doesn't mean I'm stepping away. So deal with it, pal.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah. I feel like therapy has really helped.
Yeah. Hey, it does, and it does a lot of help. Now, I think that's always been a big key, and especially I know Chloe wanted me to do a lot of things, but I had to do a lot of self-improvement because I knew you get into a relationship not having a proper structure of visually seeing the proper relationship and then doing the steps that you need to do. You're trying to find it out yourself. It's like you're learning on the go, and sometimes me turn into a bad situation, or sometimes it becomes a learning situation where the communication, like you said, comes with that partner. And if you don't have a partner that communicates,
is willing to like admit their own, or like be like, hold on, really quick, can you check yourself?
Right. And willing not to do that, that makes it all the like it just doesn't help with the growth.
Yeah, I think a big part of that too, like being confident as a person too, before you want to be confident in a relationship. So I don't know. I feel like back in the day, like I think being someone would be like, oh, so you don't leave me? Yeah. Now I'm like, where are you gonna go? You know?
Where are you gonna go, pal? I'm like the grass ain't greener, my guy.
Nope.
That's
my
funny.
grass is dead.
That's what I said. I'm like, I'm not trying. I think I said the same thing. I'm like, look, if Paul and I ever, I don't have like a plan B or nothing. But if it comes a time where either her and I separate, or if it comes a time where one of us goes, and let's say for instance, if she's the one that passes, but it's more or less of like, I'm not doing this again. I am not doing it again. I'm totally set in stone. I'm like, I love you. You're my one. That's it. But at the end of the day, obviously,
it's a lot of work, especially while you're in your 30s.
Thank you. Close to my 40s, ain't no way.
My mom got divorced right before she turned 30, and I'm pretty sure that's why she didn't really.
Has she ever brought another man at home or got close? That's my, that I'm asking now. Yeah, let's ask that question because out of all the years I've known her, has she ever had another relationship?
Not once in my life.
Oh, really?
She's had boyfriends,
yeah.
Like they're not good enough for me, so they're not coming around, and that might sound like very bitchy with me, but like I don't need a little lame ass energy in my circle. I mean, I feel like me and her views like on that probably differ. She thinks I'm like a cop bluff, but I just she like them Puerto Ricans.
Gotcha. They've been playing around with her too much. It seems like that's good. I mean, that's always been a mindset of mine. Like, if since you guys have been that close with her having a relationship, and
You should ask her to like go play and have your relationship over there, not in front of me. I don't care.
Right.
I mean, yes, me and Zach are just like all up in your face, but like also like, you're my mom.
correct. Like, I'm seeing you kiss doesn't make me. It doesn't take me out where I want to kiss my man. I'm gonna look at Zach and be like, go somewhere, please.
Bro, I remember like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago when his wife was over and he snorts so loud, and I was like, bro,
You gotta go home.
you gotta go. So like there's certain criteria, like no loud snorters, like buy me food too, like
Right.
like
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
if I mutually benefit from this, go on, bro. Come around. But
Now-
if not, go out there.
Now if she really finds another person that
I
she
want her
vibes
to.
with, which is in that sense, has that door ever been good for you to kind of accept? And you think in your mind?
I would accept it.
Yeah.
Like I would love for someone to take care of her.
Yeah.
Not saying that I have to, but I would love for someone else to like take care of her.
Right.
I just want that person to like actually do it.
Right. Just show it within the actions to her, and then from there, when I see it, it kind of lines up.
Like my dad was 28, I think, when they got divorced, and he's still like in his 20s. I feel like that's why he still got married. My stepmom's only 13 years older than me. Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
My dad was
Kind of like an older sister.
18 or 20 years older. Yeah, she felt like,
It's weird.
and she has the same name as me.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I feel like maybe that's why like he got remarried, is because he was just like a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But like, even maybe the same.
Is she older than him, or she's younger than
No,
you?
she's only 13 years younger, or older.
No,
than
your
me.
mom.
My mom, 2 years older.
2 years older than him.
My mom's 50 and my dad's 48.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
It's 13 years.
so your mom like the young ones, huh? Now I know.
Okay, so what had
Now I know.
happened is that my dad lied about how old he was, and then when it was too late and they already were like hanging out and hooking up and stuff,
Yeah.
she found out. So
Should've
known early.
Hey,
should
that's
have known early.
what happened with me, man. I'm over
You
here.
lied?
Well, no, I didn't lie. I told the truth. Chloe lied to me. Me and Chloe, what's it called? We were playing basketball at our friend's Jesse. Her family member lived across the street. We're playing, and when we first met, we're talking and stuff. She was telling me she was 13. I was 15, of course, at the time. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's what's up. So we started dating a year later. Then it was her birthday at the time, and then all of a
Did
sudden,
you come to the party?
yeah, and I gave her a gift. And sure enough, they said, "Oh, she just turned 13." I said, "What? You just?
She was 11?
She was 12."
12 when she met you?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So that's what I was like. Are you kidding me, bro? Like the next, I'm like, what the hell is this? And she started like, she was like, when I asked the question, you could look at her
Like, I
face.
was rounding up. What do you mean?
Yeah. She was like looking around, and she was like, "Oh shit, I got caught." Like that's crazy to me. I was like, I told her, I'm like, man, you're like close to 3 years younger than me at one point in life, but not generally you're 2. So I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah, it's funny. Zach's only 6 months older than me. So yeah, it's like you can see like he's 30 for 6 months. Like, you're 30.
Yeah.
I'm still in my 20s. That's funny.
He's like, I'm mature. Nah, my guy. I don't think so. No, I think that's been a crazy thing, but that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. Have you ever had some? You felt at one point in time where you felt some type of animosity towards this?
Maybe right now. I don't know. Maybe because like I feel like I recently found out that like you find a house in like Chicago, so my siblings can go to like charter school and like expensive schools out there. And I'm like, bro, I didn't even want to ask you to go on the 8 boat trip, or not boat trip, DC trip, because I didn't want to ask you for money. But now these kids are gonna go to a school that has like the tuition the same price as like probably my whole college education. Is kind of wild to me. So I just think like maybe in that aspect, like I didn't get the same childhood, so that's kind of cool. But that's also too, I was the first child, so he was in his 20s when he had me, and now he's entering his 50s, and he's like Fresh.
And that's because that comes, and I think I had to learn that territory too, where like you notice how the parents are more stricter on my side of things, but when it comes to the younger siblings, it's like they let loose or they changed up the game when it came to that.
Right, like bikinis, like all of that stuff. Like
Swear to God, I remember I kissed a teenager, well, soon to be a teenager. So when it comes to the animosity part of things, I think that's where you kind of have to understand the difference in the lifestyle changes that they've made, being the older sibling, and a lot of their errors came from us, and they didn't realize that. So when it comes to having younger siblings, the changing of the game comes with that territory and them doing different things and them behaving different, them acting different. It's in that nature, and I think if you're like me,
grew up with our parents.
right. Thank you. Like it's like I became just like a sibling more than I did a child.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's like, man, how did they get different treatment? Like that's jacked up. And I'm not gonna lie, I think that's what made some animosity towards me with Zach and my younger siblings, where it's like I even say it to my mom. I say it to mom, like, how are you so cool now? But when I was growing up, it was
problem.
I couldn't do nothing.
You want to know something? They wanted to drug test me right for seeing my siblings, but then one time I went to like the neighbor's house with them, and the neighbor's like, "Oh, remember when we did gummies together?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Did what?"
Thank you.
Bro,
exactly. And then for me was the whole was the sex thing. They were like, do you know, like, have you are you protecting yourself, or are you doing this? Like, why are you scratching yourself? I'm like, time out, man. Hold up. Why y'all think I'm over here playing around and stuff? I may be Tony and everything. You may be hearing some things while you're working at at the time she was working at Kmart. Yeah. So a lot of the kids would go there.
Too.
That's what's up, man. And it's like y'all were over here hearing a lot of things from kids from school, and then moms from school and stuff, whatever. And my name somehow was kind of in the mix of stuff, and I was, he was walking with another different girl during not recess, but during what's that? Time for the next class.
Oh, like the transition.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
Whatever that transition period.
Yeah.
Walking with a different girl during the class, whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, that's crazy to me. Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm over here playing around. And like the females, and it says I was with, like that doesn't mean I was playing around like that either. I'm like, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how did I get that talk? But what's it called? Between Zach, between Eddie.
Right, it's adorable that they have a little girl.
Thank you.
No, it's not.
No. Goes all totally wrong.
I don't think that they're necessarily like who they were when they got upset about this, but I remember like my first boyfriend that they found out about was black. And they were like, oh, like we're fine with it, but like, your stepmom's family might feel X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, I don't really care.
Right.
But then now, like my little brother, his first crush was a little black girl, and I'm like, bro,
see,
where was this energy?
Exactly, and because now times are different, and it seems okay, like normal in a sense, or it seems like you don't have to have a big problem. It is what it is, but it's in the nature of like it's just the times. Times are different. Times are changing. You also gotta like when you hear certain things, especially like me. I don't know if you're like me. When I hear certain stuff like that, I tend to like put my emotions in check or whatever, just because it's like, look, it has nothing to do with me no more. I'm done.
Yeah.
You guys are dealing with it, right? Y'all dealing with this now. It's y'all headaches. I'm just here to have the fun. Now, I look at it as I'm gonna be the fun part. I'm gonna have the fun part, and whatever the rules and regulations, don't come crying to me when they doing something wrong. I'm sitting here.
Should have gave me the rules.
Exactly. I'm like, well, did you tell them you shouldn't have done this? No, I think you did. Did you tell me you're supposed to do this? I see that. That's where you did wrong. Now, Lex, I appreciate you joining me here today. You're especially your time.
Thank you for letting me chop it up.
Yes, it was nice. It was fun. And for those who are tuning in, happy 4th of July.
Next time we'll do it in my kitchen and we'll actually make something.
Yeah, that'd be good. I can make my chili that day.
Yeah, chili off.
There you go. Hey, come on. Let's do it, right? I'm All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Special thanks to everyone out there. Tune in here on Wednesdays here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. for coming on by and like and share. If anything,
Yes,
all right?
like, share, and subscribe, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you till next time, y'all.
Where you at?